Welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 23. I'm Adam.
Andrew.
Patrick. Brian.
Before we get into our game of the week this week, I'd just like to invite you over to Facebook to like our page over there at facebook.com/meeplesonmeeples. And of course our channel over on YouTube where we post all of our video reviews. They go up about once a week, usually Tuesday or Wednesday. We'd also like to officially announce that our website, after about 6 months of development, is finally up and open for business. That's kind of going to be our central place where you're going to see all of our video reviews, new written reviews that we're finally putting up, all of our component shots. We got, I think, rotating galleries over there with Flickr for detailed shots of all the components of the games we play. And then you'll also, of course, see our video reviews, and our game of the week is going to be posted every week. We'll try to get that up on Monday to give you guys a heads up of what we're going to be playing that week and reviewing for the next week. Along with that, kind of as a promotion, we're going to be announcing a contest in this episode where everybody who likes or subscribes to our YouTube channel by February 28th at 11:59 p.m. We're just going to put all those names into a hat.
Central Time, sorry. We're going to put all those names into a hat, draw one out, and give away a $20 gift card to Cool Stuff Inc. so you guys can maybe go buy one of the games we've played or a game you've been dying for. Again, the rules are just anybody who subscribes to our YouTube channel by 11:59 Central Time on February 28th. 2013.
2013. We put that out there too. We'll put all the names in the hat, draw one, and get a $20 gift card to one of our viewers.
And you must remain a viewer until February 28th.
It's everybody who is a subscriber as of 11:59
yeah.
on February 28th. If you unsubscribe before then, you're out. You can unsubscribe at 12:01, I guess, and you'll be fine. But that's how we're going to handle it. So get on over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and check out our website.
All right, this week's game of the week was level 7, Escape. And basically the premise is, and I won't spoil anything because it's kind of a campaign that goes on. There's 7 levels to this prison facility, so there's 7 different missions or games to play through the campaign. But basically the first one starts off where you awaken in this prison underground. You're not sure how you got there, whatever. You just know that there are clones, aka aliens, attacking, and then there are what appear to be human guards on the loose. You want to avoid both of them. But each scenario basically tells you there's a starting tile where you start, and it's 2 to 4 players. Actually, I believe it's 1 to 4. Can you play this one solo? You checked just right before. Yeah, it is. You can play it solo. I thought you could. Sorry, so it's 1 to 4 players. Say, here's your starting tile, and then you have a couple of piles that'll tell you how many piles to make of room tiles. And so as you explore rooms, it's a lot like Betrayal at House on the Hill. I'm just going to throw that out there because that's a game a lot of people are familiar with. It's an older game. We've reviewed it before. Similar size rooms and everything, but you draw as you explore around the base, and depending on what room you go into, it'll say there might be an eyeball symbol, there might be a little camera symbol. That means you draw an event card, and then you read the text next to whatever symbol for the room you're in. So in this one, let's say I went into a room with an eyeball. I'll say, okay, if I can just figure out how to open this locker, pass a 4 intelligence challenge to draw 2 item cards, keep 1 and put them in, and it basically tells you what to do in that room.
Again, a lot like Betrayal.
Again, a lot like, yeah, if you end up reading an event card, that kind of ends your turn. Otherwise, you have stats on your player cards that tells you what your intelligence is, what your strength is for fighting, your movement, your defense, and you're going around exploring, looking for the exit. And again, each scenario, the first scenario, you're looking for an elevator to get up because you're in level 7. You got to escape from the prison. It tells you, here's the end, the final outcome. You need to accomplish this in order to win the game. So you're kind of working together, avoiding or fighting aliens as they're again. It tells you at the top of the card up here. If I could find one, none of these spawn anything. It says I spawn a guard, and then down here it tells you who activates for that turn and who you're going to be fighting and attacking. So you're going around avoiding them or fighting them, looking for the exit or trying to meet the criteria to reboot a computer, do whatever it says. You can lock and unlock doors behind you. Certain rooms you might have to make a strength roll to break down a door or to pass a test to prevent aliens from coming in.
And all the strength, intelligence, everything is based on these dice here. You got little, feet for movements. You got the head with the brain for intelligence.
And again, those all go back to this whole, you roll, if you have the 2 brains or 2 intelligence, that's how many dice you roll, and you can play cards to add that because you have adrenaline cards in your hand.
And let's say you're attacking somebody. When you roll the number of dice equal to your strength,
which is 2
fist,
starting up.
For every red fist that you roll, that's 1 damage you do. So most of the aliens, I think, and even the guards they have health of 3, so you have to roll a 3 or higher to hurt them.
Now, it's also a little bit like Gears of War. Is your what's the word? Your health is tied to how many your adrenaline cards.
Yeah, so it's your vitality is your.
And then you have, and then it kind of throws in this. You have this fear. Your fear level can raise or lower depending on what's going on in the game, and that'll attract the clones. I don't know if they can smell fear or whatever. But it's kind of building on the whole like dark, eerie, sci-fi alien vibe.
And it's
kind of like an X-File thing.
And not to go back to it, but it's very much like Betrayal on House on the Hill. So if you know how to play that, coming into this game is going to be pretty straightforward. There are a lot of, I guess, detailed rules specific to this game, but that'll give you a good starting point.
Okay. Should we start off talking about our the components? We usually jump right into components.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. One thing, I was really excited for this game to come out when I heard about it. I have to say, when I look at the components, I'm not really sold on it. First of all, the component pieces, your character pieces, are cardboard blocks, which a lot of games do. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the room cards are so small that when you place one of these player cards or even an alien card on it, it blocks most of the details in the room. You can't see doors very well. You can't see the icons very well.
And just imagine if you start filling up the board with these things, how quickly, if you're on our side of the table, it becomes difficult to see anything on that side of the board.
And they're also very darkly painted. Yeah. There have been times where it has been hard to identify which character you are having in your hands. I mean, if you look at this girl's card and this girl's card,
they look a lot alike.
They're dark, they look a lot alike, and you really can't tell them apart, and we accidentally have moved characters incorrectly and had to go back and
not to keep harping on this, but they could really take a page out of Betrayal at House on the Hill. Give us the little characters.
Yeah, you know, and I know that would have increased the cost of it, but this game would have had so much more flavor if they used miniatures. The other thing loses a lot by not having that.
If they're sideways to you, you can't see them at all. You have to turn like, who is that? What is that? And so I see why they did cut down on cost, but they're way too large for what they are, and they should have been brightened up a little bit. Yeah. I appreciate the dark, creepy atmosphere.
But on the other hand, I mean, it's not... The cardboard's fairly thick, although your centerpiece there looks like it's warping a little bit.
Yeah, the big double.
But, you know, other than that, I mean, they're not terrible.
It's not cheap quality components. No. It's just the characters
themselves.
I would have wished they would have
invested I understand why they did it also, because the stats on the aliens are on the cards themselves. Yeah. And at first I thought, well, maybe that's why they did it. Unfortunately, all the stats are exactly the same.
Not depending on the scenario you play.
Well, okay, depending on the scenario. But the only difference on this one is it has a number 3. It has a number 4. So I can understand why they kind of use the cards, but they could have taken a page out of Mansions of Madness where they have the stats on the base. Yeah. And they had great 3D figurines in that. I think this just loses a lot of the flavor of the text and just a lot of the interest for me, just simply because the components are so blah and dark.
Aside from that, the cards are a good quality. They got kind of the textured, thicker plastic. I'm really just disappointed overall. You can see it here. The what's on the cards, they're just very bland.
Yes, there's nothing special.
White background, or in that case, I think it's a white background on those even.
Yeah.
With some text and a few little pictures. So you don't get any real...
On the other hand, they are easy to read.
They're easy to read.
That's true. Big fonts, you know.
They don't add anything to the game.
Yeah, they don't give you that flavor that Pat's talking about.
I like the room tiles. Again, the dark, creepy artwork works here. It just doesn't work on these guys because they look the same. But also it's kind of cool. On the edges of some, there are ducts, and you can get into the vents and climb around, and instead of just being able to move one room, you can pop into a vent. Not many rooms have this option, but if it has an actual, something you can pry open, and you can jump out. As long as you can trace the vents, and not every room has a vent on the outside, it's either a black edge or the silver vent edge, you can actually crawl through the ducts and come out somewhere else in the base, which I think adds to that atmosphere.
This does increase your fear stat
every time you go in the vent.
Every time you do it, so it's creepy. So it's a benefit, but it could also hurt you in the end too.
But it's just a neat option, like
it's an awesome
aliens
option.
Crawling through. This is what you would expect in an alien creepy type of movie. The blood splatters are kind of nice.
The art on the pieces is actually really nice, really detailed.
I also like one part of the rules that we don't really want to go into too much depth is the medical bay. If you get knocked out, if you run out of all of your adrenaline cards, depending on the scenario, you can start off with 4 cards or 3 cards. But if you run out of your cards, you don't die, you're not out of the game.
At least the first time.
The first time, you go to the medical bay, and then you can pop into the vents and get out again. If you die a second time, depending on the scenario and where you started on your vitality score, you might be out of the game. But at least gives you a second chance in case you got a bad setup or you didn't have a great card pull. I like games that allow you to keep playing that you're not out for the complete game.
Do you have anything else on components, I guess?
Well, just the last thing was that you all have your own little player mat, which is nice. Very easy to read to keep track of your stats.
If you followed our previous reviews,
cool.
we like those.
Yes.
Player mat's a big plus.
Big fan of little player card. Flimsy, but it does the job.
How about strategies? Any specific strategies that work for you guys?
The scenario that we played, I would say we did not stick together.
That was the biggest problem. Yeah.
The scenario that we played, the very first level or level 7 or whatever, the objective isn't to get into the elevator to get to level 6, obviously, right? Well, we tried to explore too much, and then when somebody would pull the elevator, you've only got so many turns to get there, and there wasn't even a possibility of us getting there. We just ended the game right there because we could have played it out and it would have been worthless.
Yeah, it's not enough movements.
We're so used to screwing each other. We realized that when we played this game, we split up as far as possible because you can set up a player so that they draw more of the enemies than you do, and that's a strategy. But we were so afraid of our fellow players of doing that we split up as far as possible, and then in the end that didn't work either.
I just like to look at it as I know you guys well enough.
That's what I'm saying.
Not gonna be around.
If you saw our review on Panic Station, you know why we had that theory.
Having played this 4 or 5 times now, sometimes it's beneficial to stick together, but you become a bigger target because of the fear and the threat tokens and everything.
Yeah, if you're in the same room, it pulls.
Some games it does pay off to be close together because if somebody 1 or 2 rooms away draws the elevator and you can get there right away, then awesome. Sometimes everybody's coming down on you and after, so it depends.
I'm not saying you have to be in the same room, but I think for
closer than
us,
we were.
been a little. I mean,
we were in like opposite corners.
Well,
I was at least 10
that last
tiles
game
away.
we were nowhere near each other. I'll give you that.
Pat and I were at least 10 tiles away from even coming close.
Yeah, when
4 turns, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, when the elevator came out, we only had 4 turns to get to the elevator. When it came out, I was just, forget it. I just kept exploring in front of me. Like, I might as well enjoy his time out of his pod because he's not making it to the elevator.
Another strategy I'll throw out there is play your adrenaline cards carefully. They give you different benefits. You can choose. There's the top of the card and the bottom of the card. The top card, I think, is usually your intelligence or movement. Bottom card is usually your strength or defense. You only can have max, at least in the game, is 5 cards in your hand. You want to play them. Certain times you're going to need to be able to manipulate your fear. Certain times you're going to need to be able to manipulate your strength. So you need to really, maybe hold on to 1 good strength card, hold on to 1 good intelligence card, that type of thing to kind of leave your options open because they are going to come in handy, especially if you're getting surrounded by enemies. Any other strategies for you guys?
I think that's about it.
How about likes or dislikes? Anything specific before we get into our reviews?
I said my dislikes. Really these 3D figures.
As you probably saw when Brian was holding the cards up, holding it like this against the light, you probably can't see anything. Like this, you probably see it, but laying flat right under the light like this, if you're sitting on top of it, you can barely see the card. I mean, it really has a good glare when you lean into it to really look at it.
You also get into the dark artwork on those even. I mean, it's hard to even tell the characters apart on those.
I like the theme of it.
And some of these cards, even, these are white, so it's not such a big deal, but I did have a problem seeing that, and that was one of the main things. Other than that, like Pat said, it blocks everything.
I like the theme, and I love the fact that the dice are easy to read. It's all symbols.
They're etched.
They're etched and painted, and they'll hold up really well over time, I think. So that's another bonus there.
What I'm going to throw out as a dislike is a rules issue, and it's the fact that I think there are almost too many really specific rules in this game. I mean...
And then the rules change depending on which scenario you're playing,
and depending on which phase of the game you're in. And so we've played it, like you said, 4 or 5 times, and we're still going back to the rule book, trying to say, okay, what happens now? What do we need to do? It's a point where you just get too much going on.
There's a lot of bits. These are all bags of bits.
We've played games with lots of bits before. I don't think so much that, changing scenarios, changing rules, lots of games do that. I think they need to tighten up the wording of the placement of the rules or how they're written out. I think...
I'm going to be honest, I just think there's too many. I mean, there's too many alternatives.
I don't think that the rules were unclear.
Once we found them,
I just think they're just not set out well to easily follow. I think they can be reorganized a little bit. But I do agree, it did get distracting. It distracted from the game.
Like I said, even on our 5th game, we're still going back to the rule book. Okay, what are we supposed to do at this point? What is what's the peak rule, what's the lockdown rule. It gets to be almost too much to remember. If you're only going to play it once every 2 or 3 months, I mean, especially.
Yeah, it gets hard.
Ready to do our reviews?
I suppose.
We want to give our scale.
Scale is 1 to 10. 1 meaning that it isn't even worth a landfill. We're talking about Atari ET game level.
Or Manhattan Project.
Or Manhattan.
Just throw that out there.
It's a popular game. You're making enemies, son.
Right.
Or a 10, which is go out and buy it immediately. What do you think?
You know, I only played it twice. The rest of the guys played it a few more times. But I'll give it a 7. Just benefit of the doubt. I think it might go higher if I played it a couple more times. A few things, you know, like we'd mentioned, just these block, it's kind of hard to see. Glossiness on some of the cards kind of bothered me. Other components were amazing, but it's just, I kind of like the sci-fi feel in those types of games anyway, so a little biased. But I'll give it a 7 because I did enjoy playing it, and we did play it back-to-back twice tonight, and I didn't not want to play the second time, so...
You know, I'm gonna be the bummer on this one. I'm kind of disappointed. I really wanted to like this game. Matter of fact, there was a battle between Brian and I about who's going to purchase this one. He stole it out from under me, and I can't say that I'm really bothered by this. I'm giving it a 5. Couple problems with it. These pieces, I'm not sold on it. Could have done better. The other problem I have on it is it tries to do what a lot of other games have already done, and it doesn't do a good job at any of them. It takes the tile placement from Betrayal House on the Hill. Betrayal House on the Hill is much clearer of a game. The theme, the taste of the theme.
Yeah,
of the,
but
hold on. The taste of the
chance.
The taste of the theme. The taste of the theme. The cards on the theme does it better. It borrows from Gears of War the Vitality movement. That's not a new piece. It does basically the same thing. Your cards are your health, and they do extra things. I think Gears of War ties it into the theme of the game. I know you guys don't like it.
You can actually win this one, though.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but I think the Gears of War, the cards played into the theme a lot better, and it was they borrowed it a lot more.
You're entitled to be wrong.
Yeah, that's okay. You guys can disagree. That's fine. The whole basis of the scenario building is nice, but other games build on it. That's a descent move where each scenario builds your character and builds onto the story. I just think it just doesn't fulfill any of those as well or even close to being as good as what the other games that came before it. I think it's too loose. I love the theme. I like the idea of sci-fi. I just don't think they pulled it off for me.
I'm going to disagree with you on the whole Betrayal House on the Hill. Betrayal House on the Hill is Fawn Room, my turn's over. Read this card, my turn's over. Fawn Room, my turn's over. At least this, you can roll dice to negate the effects of cards. You can play cards.
You can do it on House on the Hill too.
Very little.
Oh no, I agree.
You do the different rules for based on your intelligence.
But here you can quickly change your stats and adjust them on the fly to make it.
But see, that's a Gears of War thing. They just borrowed another piece from a game and it doesn't do it as well.
You don't do that in Gears of War. You don't enter a room, draw a card, and then roll it.
No, you have your cards at the beginning, and then you can change your activity based upon the cards.
But I'm saying, as far as this is just it's better. This is better than Betrayal House on the Hill. And the fact that it's just way more action. It's a lot more faster paced. There's enemies. I am disappointed in the game though. I was expecting it to be a lot higher with the cool theme. I will probably swap out the heroes for miniatures at some point. That's an easy fix. But it's just something it's just another pain. You shouldn't have to do that. I'm probably right between the two of you. I'm probably about 6.5. It's not a game, but I'm not dying to play it all the time either. I think the big problem is, though, we played it, we got used to the rules, we understood it, we were starting to have fun. We took 2 months off, then we come back to it, it's like, oh my gosh, you got to slog through the rules a ton again. You don't want to do that. It might be a little more fun, I think, if you played 7 weeks in a row, do a scenario, and actually play through the game while the rules are fresh in your memory. I think it would flow a lot faster. I mean, let's face it, we had that rule book open all the time.
If you played it more, it would move faster.
And then with the second game, we only went to the rule book a couple times. You just got to play it more often. So to give it a fair, I'd have to play it more, to be honest, to give it a better review. Where it stands right now, though, if you just play it a couple times and review it, 6.5.
I'm going to actually jump right in with Pat. I'm going to have to go 5 on it, too. I'd play it again, but it's just kind of an game for me. It's not going to be one that I'm going to demand to play. It comes down to a lot of what we've talked about, the component part, which is, like Brian said, probably an easy fix, but the darkness of the pieces, the size of the characters, just it takes away from the game experience. My biggest thing is it's going to go against kind of what Brian said. If you did play this back-to-back 7 weeks in a row, yeah, it'd be great. But I think that's expecting a lot of a player. I mean, we get together once a week, and we want to play a variety of games. I don't want to keep playing this game for 7 weeks straight, which means I'm going to take a month or two off. And when I take a month or two off, if I'm going to have to come back and I'm going to have to read that rule book front to back through our first game every single time, it's just going to get old for me. And I don't see that changing if that's always going to be the case. If you're always going to be taking long breaks off, there's just too many rules to remember when you come back to it 2 months later. I think the rules could be better written. I think they could probably be a lot fewer of them to make this a much tighter game. The fact that they change so often, there are so many of them, it makes the game difficult to play in a group that doesn't get together multiple times a week, have a lot of gaming time to dedicate a few gaming sessions directly in a row to this to play through the story. Other than that, I did have fun playing it. It started to get a little stale for us, but that's because we played one of the scenarios back to back a lot because we had a few new players coming into it. That might change playing more of the story, but as it stands, it's a 5. I'll play it again, especially if we're going to play more of the story to kind of get more of a feel for it, but I'm not going to be demanding it.
Before we go on, there's one question I have to ask. What did you think of the story? Even though it's just the introductory story when you read the scenario, it really felt like you didn't know what your goal was. I mean, you knew you had to find the elevator, but I know that the story's supposed to expand, but as someone who likes the thing, I don't grab onto it.
That kind of gets to the problem of it. The rules also expect you, I think, to play it back to back.
Yeah.
The story, because if you played the first scenario, you don't know what's going on, and then if you take even a couple weeks off, you're going to come back to it and read the first scenario again, and then do the second.
2 a night, like you do level 7, then you do level 6. Okay, 1 a month, we'll do level 5, level 4.
I'm just talking from a thematic point. The story, when you read the first story, and I'm not trying to get the scenario away, it's just like you're just like.
It's very vague. It's just you want to escape.
You want to escape,
but that's the point. Okay. The first, again, not giving too much away. The first scenario is you wake up and you don't know what's going on. You just know I need to run. There are bad, evil things around.
So I'm going to put 60 minutes into a game with no real idea of what the story is.
It says you know.
But then you read the next one and it just keeps building.
You know bad things are coming, but it doesn't explain how you know that. And there's a lot of holes in the story.
Yeah, it does explain. In the first, it says you see these evil shadows. You can tell they're not human. Yeah, you're scared. You've been in cryostasis or whatever. There's ooze all around you. You're freaked out. You're buck naked. You gotta grab your clothes and run.
I was just.
I can get that actually.
It does say that you're buck naked.
The first scenario story just wasn't.
And maybe
here's my question though: is it fair? I'm not disagreeing.
I know what you're gonna say.
To ding it for how you're supposed to play it.
No.
If you're not willing to
I'm not dinging about
time.
that. My ding was not about that.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to say is I think that's expecting a lot of a gaming crew. I mean, people
get
in general
play Dungeons and Dragons.
I was like 12-hour
12-hour
gaming. Like we have Ian, which is not here. He wouldn't play this game. I'm sure he'll never play this again. But if you're a hardcore gamer, I could see guys that maybe live in their parents' basements. but I'm just saying, guys that get together say.
But please subscribe to us on YouTube after we're done insulting you. Yeah.
No, but
I'm joking.
I get that. You're right.
I've lived in lots of basements.
Hardcore gamers could do this, but if it's going to be kind of a moderate gaming crowd, you're not going to. It's going to happen.
But I don't know if it's fair. Okay, Andrew, we're on the same. Is it Pager? Is it fair to ding the game because we don't want to play it that way?
But I didn't ding the game for that. I didn't ding the game. My ding was. There's games that do it a lot better, and if I have limited space on my game board,
I'm disagreeing with that. But the whole point of I can't play it once every 3 months and get back to. Well, there's a lot of games like that.
The story didn't grab me.
What that comes to is the type of gamer I am. I consider myself a moderate gamer, and I'm just not gonna be able to do that.
Because you can play it.
From other viewers out there that identify with the type of gamer I am, I'm just gonna throw that out there. That's gonna be one of the problems you're gonna have.
To me, how to play
fair.
Okay, so here's the deal. If you're a light gamer, you probably won't want this game because you're going to have to be involved. Moderate gamer, maybe. Hardcore gamer,
you can play all 7 in one day.
You can back-to-back this in one day.
I would say,
one day.
I would say
30 to 60
hardcore
minutes.
gamer, there's much better games out there.
That's the other
This is true also. I'm saying, that's why I said possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Because there's probably people out there that will love it, and there's probably people out there who hate it.
And it's made by Privateer Press, which is a company that makes like hardcore miniatures games, like actual terrain and measuring.
So let's not beat it to death too much here.
And what I'm going to throw out there for you guys
is... We scored it like 10 minutes ago, we're still talking.
What I'm going to throw out for you guys is since we've played one scenario basically for the majority, maybe this is a game we come back to in a few months, play through a couple of the other scenarios, get more of the story, and just do a short recap on it.
We could do that.
The other thing
That makes sense?
In that, I would say that's pretty much what we've got for this week.
Yeah, maybe
Wow.
everybody got everything out?
Beating
Good?
a dead horse.
Wow, we beat that to death.
Our game of the week next week?
Next week will be the fad right now, Lords of Waterdeep.
So check us out then.